What's up, everybody? Welcome to Tesla Fix. Today we have very interesting stuff to discuss because we had the shareholder meeting. And today I'm joined by our man, you know him, everybody knows him from BestInTESLA. Here's Laes Strandridder. And we are excited to talk to him again, right, everybody? So let's just start right in. Lars, how was the first thing you thought about the shareholder meeting? What was your first thoughts you were thinking about?
Well, I just launched a video just like an hour ago about some of the
I've seen it already.
first pieces that I put together, and I think just the whole the new cars, of course, the two new models. That was a nice little confirmation that there's not just this one single compact vehicle, but there are actually two vehicles on the way. And my guess is it's the van they're going to show, because they kind of showed that at Investor Day. They had two cars covered at Investor Day, and one was the compact car and the other one was clearly in the shape of a van. So my guess it's that car, but that's of course just speculation. But I thought that was nice to get some confirmation of it's two new vehicles, not just one vehicle. So that was pretty cool. And then I am always excited to see something about the Optimus robot, and that video was really cool. It was because it was also with the Cybertruck and all that cool stuff. So yeah, that was just looking really awesome, and the progress they have made in just 1.5 years, just like mind blowing.
It's totally mind blowing. I also agree. It was very surprising also, like to see the vibe was very good. You could really feel that it was almost like a homecoming party or something like that, that everybody was very close, and it was interesting to see. And Elon looked very great. He was in a great condition, I think. He doesn't look too tired, and he seems to be working out again. It's not bad, because it's great that he's healthy and strong. That's of course better for his health. And but let's jump right back to, I think one of the most interesting things we saw was this picture also. Like, everything was interesting, but this one was pretty astonishing. I mean, we can already tell more or less what this could be. It kind of looks like a Model 3.
So I think little Model 3.
Little Model 3. So you've talked about that in your recent video. To everybody who didn't see it, please check it out. And we're going to talk about this right here now. So maybe you can fire up what your speculations are. So what we are witnessing here.
Yes, finally we get to see something about this compact car. And funny to hear the crowd when he said, "But we're not going to show it today." Like, oh man, everybody's just dying to see this car. But they're showing pretty much here, even though they only show some shapes, because we can kind of get a feeling of the look of the car, and it does looks like a compact Model 3 or something like that, even though we don't have the wheels and stuff like that. So, but the shape is pretty much in line with that. That design.
If you look at this chart, that's what you have talked about, that you're speculating that it's going to be the van, and that's right, a screenshot from your video. I'm going to link that again up here.
Yes, exactly. Maybe you can. It's pretty clearly a van of some sort that is under there.
That would be awesome, because we both are parents. So I became a father recently, you know that. So I'm looking forward for a van. And if the Cybertruck won't be released in Europe, I gotta go with the van. Maybe I can change my VIN number to that. That'd be awesome.
So I think it's those two cars that we're looking at, and I think that the shape we're seeing there is just a compact car that we all very excited about to see what will that be, because I still think many Chinese brands are coming with small electric vehicles to the market. I was just over the Fully Charged live show and checking out the BYD Dolphin, and great built, nice little electric vehicle. But what Tesla will probably bring to the market is a very good small compact affordable vehicle, because it will have Tesla safety, it will have Tesla software, charging speed, charging network, all that good stuff in a compact form here. So I think they are going to be able to make that affordable compact car that many people have been waiting for, because you could say that the Volkswagen ID.3 is also that compact car. But as I have said from the beginning, when I test drove it the first time, it's like it's a nice little electric car, but it's just too expensive for what you get. And now the Chinese, like the MG4 and the BYD Dolphin, is coming, and the MG4 is already doing quite good here in Europe, and they are just like in definitely in my country, they're just like $5,000 to $10,000 cheaper on the sticker price than the ID.3, and I think they can match them on many specs, if not also have some better specs. It's definitely they can do, the MG4 can do, vehicle to load and all that kind of fun stuff, and they can actually tow a little bit and stuff like that. That the ID.3 only have this little hook for a bike rack. So I actually think that the Chinese are coming with some great, decent, affordable, compact cars, but you are going on compromise on some of the range and the charging speed and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's where Tesla is going to come in with a good, affordable vehicle that everybody's waiting for. Decent range, fast charging, and also because I think the range is going to be pretty decent with all this new technology that Tesla unveiled on Investor Day, that they spent 3 hours talking about how all of this, because that will also bring down the weight of the car. So just that alone will bring in some more range for the car as well. So yeah, I think it's going to be an awesome product.
Yeah, for me also, I think the Chinese manufacturers are the closest. Like we all know that right now. VW just recently, the CTO of no, was it the CTO? CFO? No, the CFO of VW recently said in an interview that they don't expect, because the battery prices are rising right now again, or the materials, so they don't expect to break even until 2025.
Yeah,
and this is crazy to hear that when Tesla comes up with a new manufacturing method, like we can see here, and Mexico is, I mean, it's already running in 2025 when they open the factory in beginning of or at the end, let's say the middle of 2024 or something. And if this process will follow through, and we see this process in the new models that they gonna show, I'm pretty sure that VW will, or the German manufacturers in general, will have a tough time to really compete with Tesla in that regard, because I don't know how do you see it? Do you see a chance still? But not so sure.
Not so much. I think what Tesla did, and the difference between what Tesla and Volkswagen have done here, is that Tesla showed how they're going to do it. They have this all planned out, and Volkswagen just showed a concept car and see, this is what we're going to build. Sure, but how are you going to do this for profit as well? Because they have been out saying that they will make this $25 ID.2 and even the ID.1 or $22,000 or something like that with a profit. So yeah, I'm a little bit skeptic about that because they're already losing money on their $40,000 and $50,000 EV. So in only 2 years, they expect to have a $22,000, half the cost of what they sell now at a loss. Do that with profit. And now he's coming out not that long after saying that they cannot make a profit on their EVs in 2025, or very minimal profit, like their ICE business, maybe 6% or something like that.
Yeah, he mentioned that, or maybe I was misquoting there. He was mentioning that they're gonna reach the price, the revenues of the ICE vehicles.
Yeah,
they're gonna break even, and then they're gonna have those profits like their ICE cars. But I'm not I'm not so sure about this. Yeah, it's pretty hard to compete nowadays, and we've seen everything. It seems like everything is back on track. Like people are not as anxious about Elon anymore as much as before. I mean, in the beginning of the year, it was crazy. I mean, of course, he had his controversies again, and his interview wasn't less controversial now that he did right after the meeting. Some people it rubbed on some people's feathers, and but
I also think that
it's crazy.
They have also changed plans many times, because they showed us at their power day, their battery day kind of thing. For after Tesla had their battery day, they came up with their power day, kind of showed we also making batteries, and we're gonna in 2023 this year they are supposed to have a battery factory with 40 gigawatt hours of capacity here in Europe, up in Sweden somewhere, I believe it was. But they kind of changed that because of the IRA in the US, and now they want to build the battery factory over there instead. So I can only see this as delaying things, that this is not going to help them, that they constantly are changing plans because, oh, no, that didn't work. Or we're going to try over here instead. Where Tesla, they have the plan, and they have had it for many, many years, and they have laid all the groundwork. So they do have the long-term contract with dozens of mining companies and refining companies, and they're going to make their own batteries. And now they're going to start building their own refinery as well. So this is just... this is so insane what they're doing. But I think that the difference here with Volkswagen is that they are kind of all over the place and changing tunes and changing plans all the time. Like when under Herbert Diess, it was like, okay, we got to go fast, we got to go strong and make this shift to EVs as fast as possible. And they did great in 2021 when they came up to over, what was it, 450,000, something like that, electric vehicles. That was a big jump from the year before. But then they have kind of slowed down over the last couple of years, or the last year here was not what I expected. And they said themselves like 750,000 was their target in 2022, and they made 572. So they were way below their target. Had that been Tesla, they would have been slaughtered in the mainstream media. But it's just false.
Even if they have if they reach or top their targets, they're going to be trashed.
Yeah. It's still bad.
I feel like
it's still bad. But so I really think that the other guys are struggling to just keep a straight line and focus on one thing and get there as fast as possible. And I do think they are completely underestimating the EV adoption, as we have seen with everybody. They're always talking about, oh, we are so surprised about the EV adoption and the demand for our EVs, and Ford doubled their target 3 times in 2021. Like, okay, but where do you get the batteries? Where do you get the materials and all this kind of stuff? And I actually think the whole switching over to the US with battery manufacturing and all this stuff that Volkswagen is doing, I just made a video about that as well. I
gonna
really
link that as well in the video. It's just at this point, this is just a promotion channel for your channel at this point. A smaller one. Oh, here is my BestInTESLA cup. No. Okay, go on, please.
Anyway,
Enough fun.
Enough fun. Because I do think that they kind of are starting to realize they have lost China. It is we saw Volkswagen being down in Q1, 38% in the BEV sales in China, in a market that's growing like crazy, and the whole Volkswagen group was over there, the Shanghai Auto Show, and the CEO of Audi even said that they were kind of shocked and have totally underestimated the Chinese competition, and there is a technology battle going on in China. And the Germans are not software companies or technology companies, so I think they have kind of realized, okay, our EVs are not even selling that well in a country where EVs are shooting up like crazy. So I think they kind of have come to the realization that, oh boy, we're going to lose China. We're going to try to get over to the US because they only like 7% EVs yet. So that is kind of where Volkswagen is also at in their production. They are about 7% BEVs right now, right? So I think, okay, that is much more matching where they are right now. So I think the Germans are going to try to come over to America and start battery factories, because that's going to help them get this going with the IRA and all that stuff. And I think they're going to try to get some more market share in the US and kind of let China go, and they see, okay, that's the Chinese and Tesla, they can have that, and they're going to try to claw on to Europe and as best they can before the Chinese come. and then they're going to try to expand over in the US. That is my speculation anyway. Yeah.
What I found very interesting, because you've mentioned that the German OEMs really, or in general, the most OEMs struggle with software.
Yeah.
But besides the startups, they kind of get it how a system should work, at least from the interface perspective. But now it was said that also VW is partnering with Huawei for software.
Yeah.
This was recently announced. I'm not really sure. I have to look into it a little bit more. I didn't make my research, so a huge disclaimer here. But still, it's interesting to see that maybe they try to appeal to the Chinese now. So I'm a little bit mixed with your analysis there, because this was just came out recently. But I can imagine that they think like, okay, we're going to produce batteries where it's the cheapest for us, or easiest is maybe the US right now. And our software comes from China, so we can appeal to the Chinese people over there, because then they can say, this runs on Huawei. But I can imagine that this could also have a potential risk to be rolled out in the US. This is something that, something to think about. I'm not really sure. We have to wait how it unfolds and how these projects really come together. But it's interesting to see these developments right now and see how they try to kick and bite as much as they can, so they won't get their trophies taken away from them, but they already really lag behind.
I think also that even though we can say it's kind of a good thing that they're trying to partner up with Huawei to get some software talent and expertise, it also shows that how big of a disaster the Carrot purchase has been, that they cannot do it themselves. They want to become a software company. As we have said many times before, you don't become a software company overnight. It is a very, very difficult, and good software is even harder. So if you want to be among the best, this is very difficult. And I think that Volkswagen found out that the hard way by spending $6 billion or what it was for Carriot, and have 5,000 software engineers working on their operating system. And then we know that Tesla's AI team is like 150 people, and oh man. So I think it could be a good thing for them in China for sure. It could help them turn it around, because they need more technology, high-tech stuff in their cars to appeal to the tech-savvy Chinese people over there. So it could be a good thing, but also a good showcase of how tough it has been and is for Volkswagen to solve this software issue. So we have been talking about for 4 years almost now.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not sure if they can really step up their game. It seems like it's such a difficult task. You really see it unfold more and more. I mean, we've already seen it unfold since 2020. It was like expanding very rapidly. The decline of legacy auto, you could really see that. Is that they have to keep on their face like everything is fine, because they are established, and the philosophy of Tesla to move fast and break things, like from Elon Musk, the philosophy of how to treat those kind of projects. And it's interesting to see that Germany certainly doesn't move fast and doesn't especially not break things, but the problem is things will be broken at the end if they don't do it. They have to move faster, they have to try things, they have to be more bold, and really make fast decisions. And we all know that's a culture problem also to make fast decisions here in Germany. So, I mean, they are one of the biggest competitor. They could be. I mean, from the size, if you on paper, it looks like very promising. And many people also say, "Oh, VW did a great job when transitioning to the EVs." And I would say yes, kinda. But still, I mean, they have cars that you can buy, at least. That's a good thing. But the software is lacking and everything. And also Toyota, a very conservative company, Japanese company that was one of the fastest companies before that. And they were dethroned. And it's absolutely crazy to see now everything unfold and how everybody, like normal person outside the Tesla bubble, is losing their mind now and start to realize that something is crumbling here. It's yeah, absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that's a big shift happening right now for the whole market. I think it's going to be look very different for the auto market in 5 years' time.
Yeah, but maybe we can jump back a little bit to the shareholder meeting, because we have something to show you, one clip that I wanted to show, and then we can discuss what's happening there a little bit. Yeah.
The economy moves in cycles, and we've had a very long period of upcycle. The next 12 months will be, I think, difficult for everyone. And I think, when Berkshire Hathaway had their annual meeting, Warren and Charlie actually said, like, hey, this year, the Berkshire companies are going to make less money. They're very well-run organizations, and I think that's just generally true for the economy. So, it's also important to remember that there are good times and there are dark times, but then the good times follow the dark times. So, my advice would be, don't look at the markets for the next 12 months. If there's a dip, buy the dip. And I think you will not be sorry, because there's just generally a sort of there's an economic cycle to things, but things come back up. So my guess is tough times for a year. Like I said, just my guess. But then Tesla will emerge stronger than ever, and the long term, if you say like net present value of future cash flows, will be incredible, in my opinion. All right.
Yeah, so this is more on the financial side now. Of course, big disclaimer, no financial advice.
Yes.
I'm not a financial advisor and anything. So we're going to talk a little bit about the stock maybe, and about what was happening, because Tesla is still very low. And I wanted to talk with you about the value, like the valuations, because the PE ratio is a thing that's very important to see. Like how much is one stock worth? It's a profit to earnings ratio, and to see if it's leveled out. Like, okay, if it's 0, it's like the healthiest, people say, or more or less. But that's not with technology companies. We've seen PE ratios of 80, for example, and that means that they're performing, like, people know they're going to grow in the future, and this is what was held true. And especially those AI companies have PE ratios of 80 or 70 or 50. So ChatGPT, for example, has also very high valuation in that sense. And Tesla right now is a low PE ratio in comparison. I'm not sure how much it is right now. I have to look it up. I'm not as prepared now. But still, what do you think about this? I mean, this is pretty interesting, especially now after we've seen the whole shareholder meeting, which was a meeting about or for the shareholders. So I really wanted to hear what your thoughts are on this valuation of Tesla, if you think that makes sense, or what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we have been discussing this for many years, and it's kind of like the bear against the bull here, because the bears will say Tesla is just a car company, and the bulls will say no, they have a byproduct that is cars, but they are a battery company, they're a software company, the technology company, robot company, AI company, all of these things together. They are energy company, insurance company. We could keep going for a while, because they are so many companies into one. So I think if we look at Tesla's potential of growth, it is humongous. It is very big. And even if you just look at them as a car company, because we do see them execute very well on what they have said they will in production. With the factories, we see the Berlin factory over 5,000 now, the Texas factory over 5,000 now. That is 500,000 right there between those two factories already in the run rate. And they have shown the next big factory down in Mexico. That's going to be seems to be twice the size of Texas. There's already one of the biggest factories in the world, but they're gonna double that and build an even smaller car that needs a smaller footprint. So yeah, the capacity we can see is just skyrocketing for Tesla, and they're really executing very well on this. And we know they're planning another factory to build at the same time they're building this one. So yeah, I think the growth just for their the cars. I know many people don't like it when Tesla say they are aiming for 20 million, because it seems like such a ridiculous target, because no car manufacturer has ever done this. It's like 10 million, that's the top, because that's what Toyota have done, right? Or 11 million or something like that. But with the growth we're seeing from Tesla, if they continue this growth, they could easily do it. But I think, of course, it will slow down the bigger they get, because it's going to be harder to keep that exponential growth. But I think 20 million is definitely possible, because, you know, the others are not doing much when it comes to the new car of the future, the EV. Toyota is, you know, they're next to nothing. Was it 0.2% of their sales for the
Yeah,
EVs? Like,
I've seen
come
the
on,
number.
man.
It was
Just
ridiculous.
like stupid. So, you know, Tesla has all this market share that they can dive into and grab hold of. And so far, they don't really seem to be having a demand problem. Also, like Elon explained, we are just adjusting to the market, because like January and Q1 is the lowest quarter of the year. January is typical a disaster month for the auto industry, and we can see everybody is have these seasonal changes in their demand and their sales, but Tesla did not. Tesla actually increased their sales in Q1 compared to Q4, which was especially with this recession luring in the background, there might be fewer people that actually wants to buy a Tesla, that can afford to buy a Tesla. So Tesla need to make sure that they get all the demand out the door, all the production out the door. So they need to increase the demand in seasonal changes. So I think that was a very good explanation he gave, and said, yes, we're doing this because we can measure this every single day. We get sales numbers from our global sales. So if there's something demand lowering, they can just raise it. So I think Tesla is doing the right thing. They're just going to focus on growth and damn the margins. You know, we can win that back later. And Tesla has, was it 23-24 billion dollars in the bank? They could sell all the car for zero for the next year if the recession really hits, and still come out on the other side with $15 billion in the bank, or more than that, right? So it doesn't really matter that a recession comes and they sell them at a low profit. But like Elon just said in the clip you showed here, that we will come out on the other side stronger, because we will grow. We will be a bigger company. So if this recession really hits this summer or late this year or something, it's going to be all 2023 as well. And on the other side, when we come to 2024, Tesla will be a 3 million, you know, unit car company, bigger than Mercedes, BMW, Audi, all those guys.
I think that's pretty much true. And if you compare it to like, if what I wanted to say or wanted to follow up is that the demand thing is they're going to produce something, then they have to have the demand to get those cars off their lot, so they have free space for producing more cars. So it's always like catching your own tail, more or less, because then you have to increase the like the not margins, the demand, and then you produce more. But Tesla's goal is to produce more, and all the time. So they still sell every car they produce. You can see that the how's it called?
The numbers and the delivery numbers are following each other.
Yeah, exactly. The production numbers, the inventory. I meant inventory.
Oh, inventory. Okay.
So the inventory is raising, and then you always see those dips, because then they lower prices. They have a dynamic model, and prices are fluctuating, and that's pretty interesting to see. That, and they have many factors to consider to drive demand. They can do it by price, they can do it by advertising, which is also very important and interesting. And we've really had a great news about this. Elon got a question from Gary Black, and that's something I also wanted to show a little bit more in length, if that's okay. It's like about 2 or 3 minutes long, but I think it's very important to really see the whole thing to really think what's going on. And then we can discuss the advertising thing, because that was controversially discussed in the Tesla community all the time. And still people say they don't need to do it, but really, if you want to reach 20 million cars, you might have to, I mean, per year, you have to imagine that per year, and you have to have this stream consistent. So advertising, yeah, but we can talk about it after the clip. I think I'm already going too fast here.
So first, congratulations on your decision to try advertising. We all want Tesla to pass Apple in market cap.
I don't realize people wanted it that much. Okay.
It's good that a lot of people agree. So earlier this year, you cut prices on everything, 15, 20%. More recently, you've been raising prices on Model Y, Model S, Model X. And can you just talk about the pricing strategy on Model Y going forward and keep it separate from the decision to bring out the next-gen vehicles that we all agree is going to, blow the doors off on volume. But just on Model Y, it's the best-selling product in the world. Can you just talk about strategy of pricing going forward on that?
I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, we see what the demand is, and then we adjust pricing to meet the demand. Now, the thing is that what happens with other car makers is that they're actually constantly adjusting pricing on cars. It's just not obvious. In the case of Tesla, you can see immediately when there's a price change that occurs, because we don't have any intermediaries, don't have any dealers. There's no manufacturer's suggested retail price. But the reality is actually at car dealers, the prices are changing radically. I mean, last year there were significant premiums above MSRP at sort of the conventional car dealer. So you'd pay above MSRP last year, and then this year I think things are below MSRP or close to it. And then the manufacturers will then also offer incentives. So what's actually happening are very big price shifts by other car makers. They're just not obvious. Whereas with Tesla, it's obvious. And this is necessary because demand fluctuates a lot. So something's got to be done to achieve a supply-demand clearing point for volume. So just people are reacting to something that's obvious as opposed to saying, oh, yes, every car company does this all the time. Tesla is no exception. That's the actual reality. So, all right.
Yeah, I think pretty interesting to hear that. What are your thoughts on Elon's points he mentioned there?
Yeah, I think also as he says at some point, yeah, we're going to try advertising and test it out and see how it works. And I think that's a good thing. Let's get it out there, test it out, try it out, because like he's also talking about, there are many people that don't know about the special features or the benefits of a Tesla or even an electric vehicle. So we could help educate the public on and getting
public,
the public about how convenient and much better an EV electric car is, and then of course how good a Tesla is and how much value for money that car actually is. Like that a Tesla Model 3 is the same true cost of ownership as a Toyota Corolla over 5-year lifespan.
Yeah, that's right. He talked about this before this question. Like Alex, before that it was. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm blanking out on the name, but there was a question asked, and he was asked about the advertising strategy, and
but I do think that, like you say, the goal is to get to 20 million. Their mission is to transition the world as fast as possible to sustainable energy and sustainable cars, electric cars. So if they are right now running as fast as they can and the demand is there, I actually think James Stefanson, Kant_enough on Twitter, made some great charts about this, because he showed the production and the delivery on a chart, and they are just perfectly aligned. They are we can't see it on one quarter because there are cars in transit, but there are also cars from last quarter that was in transit that got delivered in the next quarter and so on. So if you look at how the production and delivery has been through the last 5 years going back, you can see they are just perfectly aligned. You can almost not see there are two lines if they were the same color. So they are doing a really, really good job and adjusting the prices all the time to make sure that the demand is the same size as their production. But if that's the case right now, that their demand is as big as their production, actually he's been saying many times that the demand exceeds their production, so they still can't quite keep up. So they could probably lower the price even more if they needed to, because they have a great margin, but they don't want to do that right now because they're too much demand. So they don't want this long wait list to get a Tesla, because that's a bad customer experience. But what happens if they start advertising around the world, make some big commercials, get them out there, everybody sees them, then everybody knows, okay, Tesla is actually the best value for money you can buy an electric vehicle. Why would I buy an Q4 Audi e-tron if I can get a Model Y that is right now, I think, maybe even cheaper, but at least the same price, but you get more range, faster charging speed, better charging network, safety, all the
It's not
software,
even a
blah, blah,
match.
blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
More
not even a match, right?
safe.
So if the demand suddenly, like the institutional investors really think that this will really boost Tesla's demand, sure, that probably that could be, but if they can't keep up with demand, they just have to start raising the prices. And I know many institutional investors want that because, then we get some great profits next quarter.
Margins.
Yes, awesome. But this is working against Tesla's own mission. They want to lower the prices. They want to make the cars as affordable as possible. If they have to raise the prices because they do advertising, that is not really working as Tesla intended it to work. Sure, we because we have so much demand right now. In my opinion, it could backfire that we have to raise prices, and in that case, if we raise the prices, we lower the addressable market or shrink the addressable market for Tesla. So suddenly there is actually a lower demand for Teslas. So like Elon says, there is not a demand problem. There is a affordability problem, that our cars are still too expensive for most people. So if we're going to advertise and get demand spiking even more than they already are, I think this could backfire and slow down Tesla, because they have to raise prices. They have to shrink their addressable market because of advertising, because now suddenly everybody wants a Tesla. So I think this could backfire just as well as it be good for the competition. Because if Tesla is advertising how much better an EV is over a nice car, if that's the strategy, they could be good for the other guys, but they are producing as much as they can or will. I'm not sure which is the right word there, but you can see like I think in Germany, the Skoda Enyaq is like a year or two in wait time.
This
it
could
was at
be.
some point.
I'm not sure. But I haven't heard about this. But
No,
I can imagine that.
Yeah, I saw once anyway, maybe a half a year ago. It was like 2 years waiting list on a Skoda Enyaq in Germany, and it's a great car. It's a great electric vehicle, but that is not a great customer experience, and you don't want that. So advertising could hurt Tesla in a way as well, or hurt their mission, hurt them long term.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, Tesla is a long term thinking company. So if they want to accelerate the transition and also grow as fast as possible, they have to lower prices. They cannot raise the prices. And advertising right now, if we're seeing right now that there is as much supply as there is demand right now, then advertising would probably slow down Tesla in the long term. And sure, they can get some great profits in Q2 or Q3 because they can raise the prices a bit. But who cares about that if you are an investor in Tesla? Because you have to be a long-term investor. Because I think this is also what, like you talked about, like the old guys, they want to show a great face, and we have to be profitable to show we can do this. We're doing this great. But if the machine suddenly breaks down because half of your profitable business goes away in a couple of years and you die, that's pretty much worse for you investors than having a
Yeah, of
few
course.
years. Or do like Ford, open up and say, we see ourselves as a startup company. So yes, our Model E,
Yeah.
they're going to lose
That's it.
$3 billion this year. I thought that was a brilliant move, and said, yeah, great.
Yeah.
they're showing the way. This is what the old guys have to do. They have to show, okay, this is going to be tough. We're going to be bleeding. This is going to be sweat and tears for the next 5 years. But we understand now we have to switch 100% to electric vehicles before 2030 or thereabout, or else we're going to be much smaller company. That's not good for the investor. Or we're going to die. That's not good for the investor. But right now they just want to show this pretty face that everything is all right and we have everything under control. And I think that will crumble in a few years. And I don't understand why they don't see the opportunity here, because someone like Tesla is bigger than Audi right now. In Q1 they sold more car than Audi. So officially Tesla is now a bigger car company than Audi. For me, that's in itself is mind-blowing. Why can't Audi grow? Because they are only selling ICE cars. So I think someone like Volvo, they have a golden opportunity here in my view, because they are a smaller car company and they already said that they want to be fully electric by 2030, but there's only 600,000. Tesla is pretty much going to grow with 600,000 this year. So they're going to grow a whole Volvo this year. But I think if they said, okay, let's bleed the next couple of years, right? And let's push it. We want to be fully electric in 2025 or 26. And the market is not going to be 100% electric at that point. So then they can start to grow, because they can see Tesla can grow. They are much bigger than us. They're twice the size of us now. Why can't we grow as a car company? Because you're not making the right vehicle for the future. But if you get to 100% of your cars being electric, you can just continue to grow, just like Tesla is doing. But you have to make the right product for the future, or people will not buy it. So you can't grow until you do that. So I don't understand why they don't look at Tesla saying, how can they grow to become bigger than us? Because they're making EVs. Okay, great. Volvo is already there saying they want to do this. Why not say, great, man, let's bleed some billions here for the next couple of years and get there faster and grow bigger, and we will come out stronger on the other side.
That's true. Some like they really didn't want to tackle the transition. Now the transition is already turning up against their backs now, and then they feel the spikes in the back of their heads, and they're like, oh god, okay, now we gotta start. But now they're rushing things in some directions where they think, okay, we can't lose face, we can't lose our investors. If that happens, that's a catastrophe. And of course, I didn't wish to be a manager of a legacy car company right now. It's too much pressure, and of course it's crazy. It's even harder to accelerate just EV production. It's because you have to maintain your business, and or else you have to get rid of all of your workers, and you are shrinking, and people might not buy your cars anymore because you think, oh, okay, they're not profitable anymore. Pretty dangerous territory. But that's why I think also that it's still overlooked that those legacy car companies have a huge risk of dying. And many people can't even wrap their head around this, because Ford is here since over 100 years. And Mercedes also is like, okay, Mercedes has a different strategy. It's you can't stir everything into one pot, but still, just the age of a company doesn't imply how good a company is, of course.
No,
and especially if you compare it now with the clip that we've seen. It was about this how Tesla can adjust their prices, how even car manufacturers are adjusting prices all the time. So that's not exclusively to Tesla, and so they just like, I really think this shareholder meeting really showed all the levers that are in place, all the small buttons you could press to really influence your demand or influence your margins or anything. It's interesting to see that we have many opportunities or many levers to pull on, and this is also good to know how this works, because advertising is one lever. You can use that if it's needed. They don't have to advertise all the time. I think education. I might disagree a little bit with you on that point. That you said that, okay, for the long term, advertising could even hurt them. I would say that, okay, of course, if people have to wait on their cars for 1 year, that's not good, of course. But I think when they hit those numbers, like these exponential numbers, where we're going into the 10 millions, 15 millions, I think there you have to have already people prepared to buy a car, like years before that, like groundwork, like prepare people to outside of the Tesla bubble, because we all know the products, they make 3-part changes a day some days, so the product changes all the time. Oh, we have parking sensors, oh no, we don't have them. And also that's why I think it's important to educate people outside the community to really see, okay, those are the main features. Oh, it has a better range than the other ones. And
I think that
I'm not sure if how fast they should do it. That's the point. When should they advertise aggressively? That's something I can't really wrap my head around. But still,
I think you're right. And I think when they should do it is like when the new factory in Mexico comes online, or when the demand for the Model 3 or the Model Y is getting too low, and they can't, because they can grow so fast. So if the demand can't keep up with that insane growth, they have to make some advertising. I totally agree on that. And I think some of the great opportunities would be every time they start a new production of a new vehicle, but not before it's really ready for mass volume, because it will, like the Cybertruck, it doesn't need advertising, because it's like 1.5 million pre-orders and stuff like that. So they really don't need any more customers right now, because they have to wait many years to get a Cybertruck. So I think, but when they start like the little compact car from Mexico, and they get that up to higher volume and can produce that in the millions every year, I think they need to do some advertising to get to a whole new addressable market and make sure that people know Tesla got a very affordable car, because now they also have to shift the mindset of people. Our Teslas, they are just these very expensive
premium cars.
No, we are not a luxury vehicle manufacturer. We just started there to get to where we're actually going, and that is to get to as many electric vehicles to as many people as possible.
I think you've mentioned the smaller car now, and I think this is a great transition, because I also have a clip about the new announcement that he said. We've already talked about this in the beginning of the episode, but I think it's interesting to see again a little bit what it's about, and because this will be a game changer. In Germany, for example, we really need the smaller car. For Europe, you know that most people buy used cars, the majority of people, and or less expensive cars for 25,000, around that price category is already pretty good. I mean, Dacia also is a very famous or popular brand amongst the internal combustion engine vehicles, because they were super affordable. It is a spin-off of Renault, I think it was, or Peugeot. No, it was Renault. I think it was Renault that owns Dacia, which is a Eastern European brand. But still, let's talk about the smaller car now.
You know, people always want to know what our next product is, but this is not the time to. We obviously need to have a proper dedicated product launch. I just want to emphasize that we are actually building a new product. We are actually designing a new product. We're not sitting on our hands here. There are 2 new products that I think you will be very excited about. And both the design of the products and the manufacturing techniques are head and shoulders above anything else that is present in industry.
So pretty interesting to hear it again, because we didn't have so much information about everything, and there were some rumors around floating around because of this picture. You might know it already. This one right here. I'm gonna open it up for you guys. So this was a leak that was happening, and many people had great renderings after that. Sadly, I don't have one right now, but maybe we can talk about this again. I mean, this is the Project Highland, we assume, and this you can see it's very similar to the Model 3, and we don't really know how the backside really looks. That's also very interesting. Where are the doors? Is this just a production pre-production model where they tested the body kit. It could be smaller. It could be a hatchback. It could be a two-door car. Also, I mean, here you can see it has a line in the back. So this implies that this is really much based on the Model 3, but we don't really know how they're gonna change this model or adjust this model to meet their newer, smaller, compact model. If it's a hybrid, is it a bigger Model 3, a smaller Model 3? We don't really know. But yeah, maybe you can elaborate a little bit on the topic of the smaller car.
I think the Highland product is like a revamp of the Tesla Model 3 because it is so far behind in the production and the manufacturing techniques compared to the Model Y. We all know that the Tesla Model 3 is more expensive to build for Tesla than the Model Y, even though the Model Y is much bigger and a more expensive car. So of course they want to implement some of all these learnings they have done through the last 6 years since they started production hell or revealed it. And it's time to get that up to date when it comes to manufacturing, because that is Tesla's mojo, right? That is what they're really, really good at. That is making this production very efficient and cheap and affordable and fast. So I think the Project Highland is probably that, and I think they're going to make a revamp of the look of the car, because it's, like we said, it's 6-7 years old. So it would be a good time if they have to tear down production line, and as we hear they have actually done in Fremont and so on, they are tearing down production line and have to build them up again. So if you have to start from scratch pretty much, so why not make a few tweaks here and there, also to kind of spark interest and more demand for the Model 3, because the Model 3 did sell a little bit fewer last year than it did the year before, because Y came in and just took all. But it's not like
of course.
It's disappeared. It's still almost 500,000 Model 3s they sell every year, but it was down last year. But the Model Y just took off. So I think to boost the demand again and get some interest back, because everybody's talking about the Model Y, the Model Y, the Model Y, because it's going to be the best-selling car in the world. And in Europe, it already is. But I think it would be a very good strategic time also to come in with a revamp and make it more affordable and cost-effective for Tesla, so they can get some more profits out of that vehicle and get it down and spark some new interest about it.
Yeah, totally. I also agree. I think it's still very popular. I not only looking at the numbers, but in my area and people I talked to, the Model 3 is very popular still here also, because it's the entry level with Tesla. And many hesitate to buy Model Y. Okay, I don't know. At least in my peer group, of course, a little bit younger people who are not in their top position jobs. But
I also think that it would be a good thing for Tesla to get that Model 3 a little bit refreshed and give some features that is not going to be in the next generation more compact little thing. Because then that's gonna eat into the Tesla Model 3 sales like crazy, because like you just said, it's the entry level vehicle right now. So if the standard Model 3, that's gonna compete with the next generation more compact little car for $25,000. People can get a good Tesla for $25,000, or they can get another good Tesla that a little bit bigger, but not that much bigger, because the trunk is really not that big on the Model 3, right? So I think it's a good time right now to get some interest and get re-ramped and make sure that the Tesla Model 3 doesn't just appeal to people like, oh yeah, that's the entry level car. Yeah, that's a cheap one. No, they just got a new one that's even cheaper. Oh damn, who gives a about Model 3 then? So I think it would be good to come out with something that looks much more sleek and cool and much more premium, and have some premium. We've also seen a couple of leaked videos about where they actually do the thing on the screen to change gear, like we see in the Model S and X.
Yeah.
Maybe
it was a drone video, I think, right?
Some of the things from what?
It was a drone video, right? Or
it was a drone video about it where we saw the guy in, and then he did like this on the screen, and then he started backing up like, okay. So maybe they're going to take some of the features and functions and something they learned from the Model S and put that into the new Highland Model 3 and come out with something that's a little bit more special before they come out with the new entry-level car.
Yeah, and I also think that those methods are already implemented in Model Y, but I think their whole design will be revamped into that direction, and I found it very interesting because it really much looks actually like Tesla Roadster a little bit from the design philosophy. If you really see it right here with the headlights and everything, like I think this is the future of their more sporty cars, or they have like two categories right now, the Cybertruck category where it's more boxy, and I think the van will be more like the Cybertruck, and I think these smaller cars, or even Model Y and their normal cars, will more and more look like the Roadster, I think, also with the headlights. And I'm really excited for the backside because if it looks similar to this, the front, I really like it. Actually, you can really see Franz Holzhausen's DNA of Mazda here, I think. And I think Mazda really had always great designs, and I really think this is a great entry into a new way. But I don't think it actually looks as much as a Mazda, but still, it's like a little bit these shapes really remind you somehow of that. Yeah, so I'm really excited about this because he does great work. Franz Holzhausen really does a lot of great designs.
Yeah, he's been great, and I think he also was very good in Mazda making the design changes when they came there, and they have stuck to that kind of looking design of a Mazda. I think they have some great looking cars. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sadly with the EVs, they are also struggling to come. I mean, they have a small lineup, I think. I remember, and but still it's sad that these smaller brands, and I think even those smaller brands, maybe they're gonna get taken over by the Chinese manufacturers, and then they're
just gonna buy all these brands.
Yeah, that's what they did with with Volvo and Polestar, and it's interesting to see. So maybe for the more or less the end of the episode, maybe you can think about what are the next step you think Tesla will be doing, or are they doing, and what you think is the most exciting for you, at least in the really long term, maybe in the long term, like let's just add 10 years, because we didn't talk about one specifically topic, which is even more interesting maybe than the cars. Maybe you can elaborate what I'm hinting at. I'm of course talking about the Tesla bot, which is also interesting. So, what are your thoughts on the presentation of the Tesla bot? What they've shown so far?
Yeah, I'm very optimistic about the robot, actually, because first of all, I think they went from absolutely nothing to show 1.5 years ago when they had the first AI day. They just said, we're gonna build a robot, and everybody like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then we knew it only took them like 6 months from when they really got started, and they had a walking robot. I did not expect that at AI Day 2. I thought that would show how they would come with their AI experience from the full self-driving and talk about the brain of the robot, but they actually had a functional working robot. And now we see at Investor Day, we saw another peek at the Optimus robot building itself in a little setup, and now I thought the video was really, really cool this time, with lots of robots. So we know they're building many of them, and I think what Elon said at Shareholder Day yesterday was really cool, that they can actually take the vision system, the brains of the full self-driving cars, and put them straight into the robot. I thought that was kind of a big deal for me, because that was
crazy,
like, they can, because I thought they had to rewrite that quite a bit, but it's just vision, it's understanding the world around you. It might be 2D, so the robot can understand 2D and don't bounce into that table and don't do that. But they have to teach it about 3D, getting things down from shelves and whatever. But as we could see, they have the robot walking around outside, learning, just walking around, learning the environment, and also walking around into the shop and having people teaching it to do stuff with this suit they had on. They showed that he was putting up things in a
With
box,
the
and the
VR
robot could do that.
glasses or these hybrid glasses with the
Yeah,
motion
so the robot
capturing.
can learn from that as well.
Yeah.
So, and I think the most important thing to really understand is Tesla is, if it's true that Elon says they are the leading team in AI, well, they can build a brain pretty darn good for this one. And I think what we have to separate when we're talking about this humanoid robot, because people like myself get very carried away and think, oh, a humanoid robot that can do everything for us and stuff like that. That's a bit out in the future. But if we're talking long term, I think Tesla will be the one that does this. As Elon also said at Shareholder Day, the ones with the best teams, they're the one that wins, and they have
That's
the
true.
best team, because SpaceX and Tesla is still the places that the top engineers want to work at. So they get to pick first, and it's not like I pick one, you pick one. No, it's like Tesla, you pick your team first, and then everybody else get to pick their team. So I have like, but I'm of course also, pro. But so maybe I'm too optimistic. But I had like, this is already done. This is a done deal. There was also connecting the dots that had this interview with the CFO of her German AI company, where she said
cool.
that if it's game over, they're pretty much thinking about, should we just stop and just invest in Tesla instead, or because they're not in the same kind of business when it comes to AI. But like she said, it's all about the talent, nothing else. She could do more with 2 exceptional engineers that she could do with 50 great engineers. So it's like,
Not
you
like
need
Carrie yet.
those teams. Yeah, you exactly. So you need the top engineers, and Tesla has shown they have the top engineers. They can do almost a full self-driving car right now with 150 people, and Volkswagen have 5,500 software engineers, and they can't even get the software operating system to work, right? So I really think, thinking long term, being the optimist that I am, I'm saying this is already in the bag. Tesla has won this one. They're going to have a humanoid robot. It might not be this decade or next decade. I don't really care, because I'm in Tesla until the day I die. So long term, the profits of this business is like, you're going to make everything else look like a little sideshow next to the Optimus robot. And also, I think people are going to be more excited about it sooner than people think, because if we take away the humanoid robot that can do everything and just focus on a dumb little robot that can do one thing, well, if that one thing is putting these metal sheets into the robots that build the car at the factories, that is one job that Tesla don't have to hire one for. And it's a very it's almost like geofence full self-driving, right? It just have to know these 10 square meters or
Surroundings,
100 square feet of space in front of the robot, and know I need to pick up this metal sheet and put it into this robot, and then it's done, and I take it away, and then blah blah blah. So it's pretty easy stuff to do. It doesn't need to be a very clever robot. We have dumb robots in the factories already that don't know anything else but lifting this up and taking it over there, lifting this up, taking it over there. And the Optimus robot can be that kind of robot. It could be a dumb robot that just knows that when a package come in, it can look at the label and read the label and say, oh, say it says Karen, and I know Karen is on second floor. Okay, I'm going to walk up with this packet to Karen and leave it at a table. It can do useful stuff much quicker than I think people realize. And Tesla is probably not going to sell this robot. They're just going to use it internally. But as soon as they have taught one robot to do this one thing at the factory,
they're going to use it.
Update and say bling, and now we can do this in all our factories, and all these robots that need to be fed something to do their job. That's going to save them a lot of money, a lot of cost. So I think we're going to see the benefits of this robot much before than people think, because we don't need to get to the human robot before this actually gets useful and valuable for Tesla. But I do think, looking really long term, this is humongous for Tesla, and Tesla has this in the bag because, as Elon said, the team with the best, the team with the best team wins. The company with the best team wins, and they seem to have the best people working for them. And like Elon said at the shareholder meeting, what is even the market size of this? We don't know, but don't everybody want to have a robot at some point doing all the things we don't want to do? And is it even a 1-to-1 ratio? I don't think so, because at that point we are probably flying out there in our solar system, mining stuff and mining in the moon, having want to build a colony on Mars and all these cool stuff. And who better than sending thousands of robots out there, or millions of robots to mine the moon and mine the asteroids, all these dangerous things we don't want to do, and build the colony for us? Well, that could be the robots. So the demand is, in my opinion, is pretty much endless. They can just continue to grow. But like Elon said, I don't know, is it 10 or 20 billion of these things? Is that the market size? And what do they cost? I don't know, $10,000. That's $200 trillion mark. So even if they just capture 20% of that, it's gonna be humongous. And remember, that's the market size. If we're talking about a market size, like ARK Invest is usually talking about full self-driving or robot taxi, at that market's being around 11 to 13 trillion dollars. That, and Elon is talking about that like this is the biggest value change in the history of the world. But that's going to look like a little sideshow compared to the market size of $200 trillion humanoid robot market, or whatever it's going to be. So looking long term, I think it's all about the robot long term. Nothing else really matters.
Yeah, you've touched on very interesting points here. I think that if you develop the brain, then you can upgrade the hardware very easily. If you imagine now we have a shell of a robot that just can have limited movements. Guess how these iterations work when the brain is already developed? You can imagine that it's just a hardware upgrade or a software upgrade, sometimes a hardware upgrade, better hands, better electronics, and stuff like that. I mean, they could optimize this thing to the max. I mean, if somebody could really do a very sci-fi, really humanoid robot in that sense, I think it would be Tesla. It's not a match even. And the AI topic, I mean, if you look at everything, we have many different developments that are still very boxed in their boxes. We have AI development, we have vision, for example, which is also AI, and teaching your model this. Then the acquisition of Twitter is actually pretty interesting. I mean, Elon Musk really works long term. Why does he want to have Twitter this bad? There might be something more than just chatting around with people online. I think it's about training your language model, for example, with a huge data set and stuff like this. So these things happening behind the closed curtain that we don't see, the developments that where they working on the future. I mean, this is so exciting to see. And I mean, FSD is just the beginning. Like it isn't even launched really. If you think about it, we don't have full self-driving really as a robot taxi, but this is on the horizon already. That means this step will come, and when this step comes, they were already working on different stuff in the back, and it's just really gonna shine there. I think it's super exciting. And like you said, the use case for a robot, everything you can imagine. I mean, building up a civilization on a different planet looks very promising, and we might get there. I mean, it's possible now. Before it wasn't possible. Before Tesla, before SpaceX. So, and I also think Elon Musk always combines his companies, of course. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if the diameter of the Boring Company drill is just the diameter of a rocket that he can shoot up, and the weight and everything. I think it's the whole concept is already laid out, and he's working on his long-term plan, which is like really sci-fi stuff. Like
Yeah.
we can't even imagine what's happening there, and this is
and,
really
and Elon
super
and his
crazy.
companies are willing to do this
Yeah.
kind of crazy stuff that other people's are laughing at, and that's why they are where they are at today. People laughed at them when they came with the Model S, right? There was investors that said this is a vaporware car, and now they want people to put down a deposit on a car. This is crazy. They're going to lose all the money. That happened. The Model X couldn't be produced. The Model 3 would never happen. They have just been proven wrong so many times, because Tesla is willing to say, yeah, we're going to produce 500,000 cars in 2020. And like, absurd. And now they're going to say, yeah, we're gonna build
Ridiculous.
20 million in 2030. Yeah, absurd. They just continue.
We're gonna reach 500,000 cars in 2020. Oh, come on! And we're gonna double that to 1 million. And one time they had 40% growth or 45% growth. Everybody, look now, look. They are going bankrupt. Gordon Johnson was right in the alley. Look at this vaporware, or the Tesla Semi won't work. And Frito-Lay is like, what's that? Is it an internal combustion engine car that is disguised as a? I mean, it's driving around. What is he talking about? It's so funny.
Amazing. But I think Tesla has both the engineers, the balls, and the software teams to do all of this. And they already have shown us with the full self-driving, they have these simulations that their AI is building themselves. They built them in 5 minutes. It used to take their software developers 14 days to do. 5 minutes. Like, boom, here's a cross section of San Francisco. Enjoy. So I think they could do exactly the same for the robots. Like, it can stand there at a physical machine, learning the stuff and doing the stuff. And when they go charging, well, it's just the brain is just going to continue in the simulation. It's just going to do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. It never rests. It never stops. It always getting better and better, even if it do it in the real life or in a simulation, because Tesla has shown us we can do simulations. So of course they have thousands of robots' brains doing stuff in simulations, and then they're trying to teach them in the real world as well. So I think it already happened very fast. What we see at Tesla, I think it's tremendous. I know many people think, oh, I can't do backflips and stuff like that, but I think they are actually trying to make a useful robot. So I think it's tremendous what they have done so far, and they have the balls and the brains to go all the way with this one. And I think it's already in the bag. It's just a matter of when will it happen.
Yeah. I think we should look at one last thing. That's the last clip I have for today, which is John Gibbs asking the question to Elon Musk about FSD, because I think FSD now is the crucial point also for the robot to really, we have to crack this. If this is cracked, I mean, they're already working on the robot. Of course, it's maybe even producing some parts, or we don't really know what's happening inside. Scott Walter really talks about the stuff with John Gibbs many times, and it's very interesting to see that. I'm gonna upload my interview with Scott soon, which is recorded before it was the shareholder meeting, sadly. So I have to make a follow-up. I'm like,
that's a good excuse
every
to
video
get him on again. So that's awesome.
yeah, of course. Yeah, I have to get him on again. But let's look at this clip and just go back to the now.
I'm John, or Dr. Know-It-All on YouTube, and I don't know it all. But anyway, my question is, as you guys move completely or finish the transition in full self-driving from version 1.0 of the software to 2.0, what do you perceive of as the potential stumbling blocks after that? Because it seems like that's the major, kind of step change that needed to happen, and so you're almost done with that, and what happens after that? And also, please let me interview about full self-driving. Like, I'll spend 2 hours talking to you about just that. So, thank you.
Well, one can really think about full self-driving as sort of a march of nines of reliability. So we need to get to the point where the probability of injury is lower than that of the average human driver, and then ultimately probability of injury is much lower. So even at the point at which the car is capable of driving itself, there's still actually a lot of work to do, because every year there's 1 million people that die in auto accidents, and I think probably everyone in this audience has friends and family that have died or been seriously injured in auto accidents. And for there's like 1 million people that died, there's 10 million people roughly that are seriously, like, permanently injured. And so it matters that if we can get that down by an order of magnitude, there's like 900,000 lives saved per year, maybe 9 million severe injuries prevented per year. And so that really, I think, morally has to be our primary goal. I guess I'm open to an interview on FSD. 2 hours is a long time, but okay. All right, I'll do an interview. It's got to be on Twitter, but sure. All right.
Yeah, so John Gibbs really did it.
He's gonna
even if it's a space, yeah, but he gets this interview, which is awesome. And but this is really interesting. This also shows the empathy of Elon Musk. I think this is always overlooked a little bit. That because we know his political discussion he has, I think he still is very much misinterpreted. Tongue twister. Misinterpreted. And I guess he sometimes says stupid stuff, but when he elaborates what he meant in the short form, it doesn't really look good all the time. Or sometimes in interviews, when he says a sentence, people are like, "Oh, what did he just say?" and are offended. But if you push the buttons, if you ask him more, if he follows through with this description, what he's talking about, then I think people realize, okay, this is about that. But people are so, especially nowadays, where the division between left and right and everywhere, like it's all around the globe, and it's crazy to see that people don't have the patience to listen to really wait and see the response. Because if you see every interview he does, when it's about saving lives, when it's about getting energy to people in Australia, he's near to the tears, for example. So his empathy level is very high, and also his goals are preventing like loss of human lives, because humans are the biggest resource we have to. This is civilization. Civilization can collapse if the birth rate is down. So these topics are really important, really, to address. And also, for example, the injuries. He talked about the injuries here. And yeah, it's about preventing injuries. That's our metric for FSD as well, which is interesting to hear. Not just like, oh, can it drive itself? Can it pick me up? No, can it save lives? This is the main thing. And today I've seen a post from Raphael, who's also in the Tesla community. And he said he was walking with his dog and his kid in the stroller near the street, wanted to cross, and nearly he got like he really like the stroller was nearly this was really scary. And I mean, that's what it's about, when people are reckless drivers or something, that you can like at least or unconcentrated when they have long trips or something, that they just can, okay, this thing drives itself, I can rest a little bit, or and stuff like that. So I think it's very crucial. And what do you think about this clip I've showed?
It's kind of like the whole robot thing as well, where we have to look at it in two separate ways. When we're all the way there, and where we already at today. And with the safety that the system already gives drivers today, because today is kind of a hybrid drive. The car is driving and you're monitoring the car. So together, we become really, really great drivers, much better than a human driver. So full self-driving and a human together drives much better than a human does. And also better than full self-driving would do by its own, of course. But together we are really, really good. And I think there was some statistics, I used it in a video at some point, where it's like, if every car on the planet had Tesla's driver assist features, the safety features,
not even full self-driving,
just the safety assisted features that get 98% score of Europe NCAP and Australian NCAP and NHTSA and all these guys. is the best on the market. And if everybody had that driving safety assist system, we would save like 900,000 lives every year, just like it is today. We don't even have to get to full self-driving. The others just have to be as good as a Tesla. So I think this is very, very important. And I think the faster we can get there, the better. So I am against all the people that says, oh, they're doing this in a reckless way and blah, blah, blah. There has been no injury, first of all, and there's been no really big crashes of a full self-driving beta testers that are doing these where it drives completely by itself. So I think that is the way to do it. We have to crack some eggs to make an omelet, and that is what Tesla is doing. Tesla is not afraid of doing something dangerous, and SpaceX is not afraid of blowing up rockets to get progress the fastest. And I think this is very important for full self-driving, because one of the biggest benefits of this is the human lives it's going to save. We're going to save 1 million lives every year when we get to a full self-driving system, right? So yeah, I think it's very, very important. And when we look out in the future where we have full self-driving, we're not going to have any accidents. And hopefully the cars can talk to each other and all that good stuff, so they know how to keep distance, and they all drive the same speed at the highway, and so it's impossible to make a crash.
No traffic jams, and because it's always like stop and go, and that's why traffic jams are and stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty interesting, and also Neuralink too. If you put that also into the mix, it's about people who got paralyzed can walk again. Something like this is the goal of this at first. Like, of course, the medical use case is very interesting, and pretty interesting times. And so we are. It's almost like Tesla's just starting, which is ridiculous to think of, because we are in the Tesla bubble all the time. Every detail, every crumb we get, we eat it up and look and try to combine everything together and try to look at the thesis and stuff. So we are so focused on the micro that the macro, it's crazy. If we zoom out, we're like, oh, wait a second. Not that much was happening, really. The big steps are going to come still. Yeah. So this is just like the baby steps.
Like in 10 years, when we look back at all the things we were discussing on the way up there, and we're like,
what?
Oh,
we discussed advertising?
Why would we
what?
That's stupid.
What the hell was happening there? Why was this Reddit went again? Wait a second. They have now they have a robot that can do backflips, which is the most important metric for the normal, not Tesla bubble people. Like, can it do backflips? Which is very important.
P ratio if it could do backflips.
Exactly. So pretty interesting to see the developments of Tesla going on. So any last words for you? I hope you don't die right now. That's not what I meant, but last words for the episode. Maybe what you're working on, maybe you can share with us what my audience needs to know now from you.
Well, tomorrow I'm going to England to be part of the Fully Charged live show. So if you're over there, please come say hi, and stay tuned for videos about all the great stuff over there. And as you say, Tesla has just begun. So we're going to have a lot of great talks in the future as well, Jan.
Perfect. Yeah, I hope so. So the Fully Charged show, when this airs, probably is already over, but we don't really know. Maybe I wanted to upload it on Father's Day. So if this is not up on Father's Day, please write a hate message now under this video. Thank you very much, because I couldn't make it, but I'm sure I'm going to make it. So Lars, thank you very much for being here. I really always enjoy the talks. We have a great chemistry. I always say that. It's very fun to talk to you, and I wish to meet you one day in real life, maybe for the Fully Charged show when you're there again someday, because tomorrow it's a little bit late for me to run up to England from the Lake of Constance here in the south of Germany. But I'm looking forward to meeting you, and to everybody else right now there's one last thing to say right now on the show is goodbye, everybody.
Wasn't this episode awesome? Let's accelerate the pace of innovation by subscribing to Tesla Fix. It is my absolute favorite channel on the whole interwebs.